Look who's in New York City. Pumps and I are together in person because we have to talk about blowjob mania. Pumps, I had to film this solo episode yesterday when you were on your way here. And I can't believe that at the top of every news cycle isn't that Trump gave somebody named Bubba a blowjob and Vladimir Putin has the evidence of this.
One would think that would be an extremely high news topic. It's unbelievable to me that everybody's just acting like, oh, it's normal, when Clinton was impeached for a blowjob.
So he's not beating these allegations in the least bit. Kylie, play the clip.
I have a question about Venezuela, but can I just first ask, the health of the president's always news. Your voice sounds a little rough. Are you feeling all right?
I feel great. I was shouting at people because they were stupid about something having to do with trade in a country, and I straightened it out. But I blew my stack at these people.
Okay. If I were accused rather salaciously of giving somebody named Bubba a blowjob, and then our national security was at risk because Vladimir Putin had evidence of said blowjob, I don't think I would rather enthusiastically use the phrase, I blew my stack.
No, I would think it was a poor choice of words. Mm-hmm. But for Gramps or Kanks, whoever he is today, he needs to get on point because he is drowning in this because it's so bad. It is so bad.
But he's incapable of doing that. That's because right. We all know this man has advanced dementia. But when you look at everything in its entirety, he's blaring Phantom of the Opera from the Oval. Look at the interior design projects. Liberace meets Marie Antoinette meets white trash, nouveau riche, and all of his arts and crafts side hustles. The thing about this is that you always have to remember a bunch of bad people are doing really bad things while he is engaging in these blowjobs with Bubba, when he is engaging in this Epstein cover-up, when he's engaging in all of his interior design and architecture projects. I would say desecrations as far as them being design projects. I would say they're desecration projects. So you have Stephen Miller, you have Russ Vought, you have Lil Smokey, the failed drag queen, and they are moving rapidly and quickly to consolidate power. And how we live in a country where we used to be a serious nation, and now we have a demented president that gives a speech in front of McDonald's executives yesterday. And this is what it sounds like. Play the clip.
Everyone loves something at McDonald's. I like the fish. I literally brought dozens of quarter pounders from McDonald's. You should have suffered a little while through Kamala. The good news is she had no clue. And why is the Gulf of Mexico called the Gulf of Mexico? And now it's the Gulf of America. It has nothing to do with McDonald's, but maybe it does. The Biden administration started the affordability crisis, and my administration is ending it. I'm ending it. Prices are way down. And then they said skedaddle. The word skedaddle drops a bump. It goes down very sleepily. And they go, boom, skedaddle. So I made the French fries. The guy was really good. He had a great wrist. He was, yeah. Not laughing anymore. They don't laugh at us anymore. They respect us now.
Okay. How this man is speaking this way. And Pumps and I woke up this morning and I had on CNN. And had Biden given such a rambling dementia senior citizen escaped from the memory care wing of the, mental health portion of the assisted living center, it would be headline, aging Biden shows signs of dementia, shows mental collapse. Instead, this was completely whitewashed as though Trump speaks about tariffs in front of McDonald's owners. And that is so far down. He may have given 2 to 3 sentences that were complete lies. His tariffs, right. Everything he says about it are lies. But the fact that the media, the corporate media in particular, refuses to cover this cognitive decline, while we know now that Vladimir Putin has evidence of Kanks giving somebody named Bubba, who Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, made a statement, said, hey, FYI, the blowjob Bubba wasn't Bill Clinton. He didn't deny the blowjob, nor the evidence, nor that it was in Putin's hands. And this just all goes ignored. And then we see this rambling, psychotic expose in front of the McDonald's executives. And everybody's just acting like, well, the president this morning is going to do X, Y, Z. The amount of people that have gone along with this Republican capitulation to this fascism is such a travesty. And when the autopsy is written on the death of American democracy, we're going to have to look at the people who had brain cells left that ignored that. And I'm talking about corporate media. I'm talking about these industry titans, universities, law firms, judges, et cetera. This is beyond the pale that this is not lead news that Trump is suffering severe mental collapse.
Well, and you look at it, Fox News is still talking about Biden's mental decline. And Biden, if he had one gaffe in a speech, it was headline. This guy makes no sense. Like, he makes no sense. And I feel like during his speeches, the people that are watching know he makes no sense. And the reason corporate media is not covering it is he has all his buddies in place that now own the media, including TikTok now. We've got Elon Musk, who's a nut, but everybody is in on it. It's not just they're ignoring it. I believe they're in on it.
Yeah. And I think that we have a situation where we need to move really quickly. The things that they are breaking in the federal government, the economy, we're not getting accurate job reporting, because he knows if he gets accurate job reporting, the stock market is already starting to free fall a little bit the last few days, where there's reporting that Peter Thiel and others that are involved in this huge AI bubble are now pulling their money out of NVIDIA and other, quote, trillion-dollar companies, which this is going to end up being this complete death spiral. And then he loses the country club Republicans. And I want to explain something to you all from us living in a red state. There are layers of MAGA. The first layer is just the cult. These are the rapture preppers. These are the, I want to own the libs more than I want anything, the faux patriotism, the trucks with the MAGA flag on it, Trump merch. And then you have the worst of the worst, which are country club Republicans. And in my opinion, these people are the most insidious. Socioeconomically and looks wise, they kind of fit in with Pumps and Me. But they're sophisticated and cultured enough in certain circles to deny their triple Trump vote. But when their head hits the pillow at night, they bathe in hate and covert racism, and they enjoy their entitlement of white supremacist structures. And these country club Republicans are playing such a short-term game, because the next piece to this is their coveted 401ks are going to be in complete free fall. And then they will play victim. And then you will be hard pressed. I guarantee you 5 years from now, 5 years from today, we just saw a video of Kanks. Okay. I don't know if he's alive or not in 5 years, but I guarantee you this. You'll be hard pressed to find a country club Republican that will look you straight in the eye and say, I voted for him 3 times proudly because I really believed in his policy. You will not. Now, the cult members, we're talking about, some psychological issues, but country club Republicans, I think, are going to have a very, very hard time admitting that they triple trumped.
I feel like they're already starting to rewrite history a little bit with all of what's going on with the masked men and the prices going up. I feel like you hear certain people that were super rah-rah Trump that were only doing it because they were fiscally conservative are now saying, well, his policies are bad, but I agree with this on some stuff. Or they're trying to blame Stephen Miller. Well, I don't like Stephen Miller, but it's really not Trump. They're passing the buck and rewriting history a little bit already.
I've always heard the people like this that I know personally, they say his personality and his governing style, I don't like, but the policies are effective. And the policy that they're interested in is the tax break that allows them to pay less in taxes and then completely ignore human rights issues. And one of the biggest myths and most successful propagandizing campaigns that the Republicans have thrust upon the public is that fiscal conservatism is compatible with social liberalism. And those two things are not compatible. Fiscal conservatism is something that makes people feel good because everybody likes to be frugal and everybody likes to save money. Fiscal conservatism is packaged up in a way where it is all about demeaning the poor and adding a lot of entitlement to wealthy people. And if you think about the how rich people are given all of these things they didn't earn. And as I look at these emails from Jeffrey Epstein, the people who knew him said he was brilliant. He was a genius. Peter Thiel even said, I went to him for tax advice because he was a tax expert. He can't spell. Mm-hmm. The punctuation is terrible. And then if you go to Elon Musk and you watch any video of him that he isn't high on ketamine, this isn't like some great mind. The same with Peter Thiel. He's this really weird guy who has this side hustle. And in the United States, we worship money so much. Therefore, we worship wealthy people so much that we give them the affirmative action of intelligence because of the volume of their bank account. And that has been such a misstep because some of the smartest, most people that specialize in expertise in their events and their areas are not uber wealthy, but they believe in the cause so much. And we have silenced those voices and promoted these dipshit billionaires instead, one of which being Hanks, who everybody likes to talk about on the right wing side. There's a rise in anti-Semitism. There's a rise in anti-Semitism. I agree there is a rise in anti-Semitism. I've seen that mainly on the right with Tucker Carlson colluding with Nick Fuentes, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and others. That's where I see the rise in anti-Semitism. I see the rise in anti-Semitism in the fact that Hanks pardoned a man that wore a shirt that said Camp Auschwitz on it. Okay? But more than a rise in anti-Semitism right now, I see a rise in misogyny. And it has been ongoing for 10 plus years now. You have the New York Times that did an opinion piece. Did women ruin the workplace? Imagine if that opinion piece said, did Jews ruin the workplace? Imagine what the ADL would say. Imagine what Greenblatt would do. They would all freak out. But when they do it towards women, even the New York Times goes along with it. Like that's a reasonable thing to platform, which is just so utterly insane that somehow men facing accountability from women that you can't slap them on the ass anymore and treat them like shit and underpay them has ruined their job. But it comes from the president, and the president has such a cultural impact on society, the president of the United States. And here he is, and this is just any day in the White House. Here he is on Air Force One speaking to a female reporter just yesterday.
So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan Chase.
Sir,
Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead. Go ahead.
In the
Quiet.
It's unbelievable.
Okay. I mean, just calls her Piggy.
He has no respect for women. We know this from Ruth Ben-Ghiat that misogyny is on an uptick in authoritarian regimes. But why is that not leading every news channel? Because nobody takes him seriously because they think, oh, he's so funny. Why did everybody in that press corps not band against him and say, you can't talk to her like that?
Well, I think nobody takes misogyny seriously. If we were to really look at the data, women drive the economy. Women make all of the purchasing choices. So to the fiscal conservatives that care so much about their 401ks, a policy in misogyny is not going to be beneficial for your 401k. The media is participating in this misogyny. In this rise in misogyny, I want to be crystal clear. The women that are affected first in this are poor Black and brown women. They are the ones who have lost their jobs first and foremost. But white ladies, this trickles to you. This type of misogyny will impact you. This will impact your daughters. And it's amazing to me how many men in the MAGA administration, whether it's Sean Duffy, who just says women are trying to seek happiness in careers, and I think they should seek happiness in marriages and having children. This is somebody that's in the cabinet in 2025 saying this. You have Fox News, all of these women who have careers, all of the women on Fox News telling the viewers that they should embrace being housewives and mothers. It's none of their business. Either we're a free country or we're not. But this attack on women is capitulated by the media. They are participating in this by not calling him out immediately for this, not doing a lead story. Trump called one of our female reporters a piggy, and we are no longer going to be traveling with him. Some sort of consequence. But if Trump engages in any other form of bigotry, they'll call him out. But let me just say this with regards to anti-Semitism. It seems to me that the ADL is okay with some forms of anti-Semitism as long as it's a white billionaire that does it. And I'm talking about Elon Musk. But if a person like Zoran Mamdani links anti-Semitism to homophobia, which any person would say all bigotry is linked. Once you attack one group, you leave all the other groups vulnerable. That's why they're connected and universal. And so in this plight against this fascist regime, I believe it's super important to stand up for all of these groups. And at the end of the day, we started off this episode with a man who has leading a political party that has 600 anti-LGBTQ pieces of legislation just this calendar year, an extremely homophobic and transphobic administration. And now we know that he gave somebody named Bubba a blowjob. And Vladimir Putin has the information on this, which makes Helsinki make sense, which makes the Alaskan bend over make sense. And this just gets moved through the news cycle. And what's so fascinating, Pumps, is it seems to me that the MAGA people online are more upset about the blowjob, which would be two men consensual. I would assume that Bubba's of age. And we all know Kanks has been of age for like 100 years, right? They're more upset about the consensual blowjob than they are about Kanks with underage girls. And at the epicenter of all of this are these men that think the rules don't apply to them.
Well, and Trump has shown with the help of the Supreme Court and Congress that the rules don't apply to him. He can break laws every single day, corruption at the highest level. Everybody's like, oh, you're so great. But here's the thing. These people at the end of the day are so racist. And I'm talking about the triple Trump MAGAs, because when I was really looking at the Epstein files being released, the emails, people in that movement were glossing over the pedophilia and going straight to the H-1B visas. They were more worried about that. And that tells you something. At the base and the core of this movement is hatred, which explains why their leader is such a vile fucktwat.
Completely agree. All right. A great way to support Pumps and me. Buy our book, Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. We'll be back later today with more news, and we're going to hit the city.